Thanks for watching ERi-TV, dear viewers. Welcome to our news broadcast. Here are the headlines. Ministry of Education Southern Region Branch conducts assessment meeting. Voluntary blood donation in connection with 12th August World Youth Day. Venezuela and Colombia name ambassadors in attempt to resolve ties. Argentina hikes rate to 69.5% as inflation surges to 30-year high. In our domestic news, the Southern Region Branch of the Ministry of Education conducted an activity assessment meeting on 9 and 10 August in Mandafara and Dekamhara. According to reports presented in both days, Mr. Heptizgi Kidane, head of the branch office in the region, indicated that in 2021 and 2022 academic years, 92.6% of elementary, 83% of junior, and 78.6% of high school students have passed to the next level, and 3,400 students, including 1,618 girls, have gone to Sawa for their 12th grade education. Expressing satisfaction for the successful completion of the academic year, having passed through the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic, the heads of education offices in the 12 subzones of the region said that the number of student school enrollment has shown a significant increase. Representatives of the Ministry of Education Central Office that attended the meeting called for reinforced effort to control students' school dropouts, underage marriages, and other practices that are negatively affecting the development of the teaching-learning process. Mr. Petros Haile Mariam, Director General of Research and Human Resource Development at the Ministry of Education, commended the efforts exerted in all subzones of the region to develop the teaching-learning process and further called for preserving the achievements registered and address challenges. Mr. Petros also said that training programs will be organized to upgrade the capacity of the newly assigned teachers. The participants of the meeting conducted extensive discussion on the reports presented and adopted various recommendations. In the southern region, there are 176 kindergartens, 266 elementary, 98 junior, and 28 high schools, as well as 5,958 teachers, including 2,670 women. Voluntary blood donation with the aim to enrich the National Blood Transfusion Center was conducted in connection with the 12th August World Youth Day. Youth from inside the country and abroad took part in the program that was carried out on 9 and 10 August 2022. Mr. Gabriel Johannes Gabriel Tinsae, member of the National Voluntary Blood Donors Association, indicated that 86 units of blood has been collected and called on others to follow the noble example. World Youth Day was announced by the United Nations in 2000 to be observed every year with the objective to develop the overall awareness of youth. In related news, nationals that are taking computer technology training at the Polytech Voluntary donated 80 units of blood on 5 August. Mr. Haptom Ghebreyesus, coordinator of Student Summer Work Program in Gash Barka region, reported that praiseworthy soil and water conservation activities as well as dirt roads renovation activities have been carried out through the program, in which 2,023 students and 85 coordinators from 12 schools are taking part. So far, he said that 123,000 tree seedlings have been planted, as well as 90,000 meters of terraces and 4,600 metric cubes of water diversion canals have been constructed. Pointing out that the tree seedlings planted at the enclosures in the subzones of Loga Ansaba and Baronto are in good condition, Mr. Haptom called on the public to conduct regular follow-ups for their sustainability. Mr. Takhaste Kifla Mariam, representative of the Forestry and Wildlife Authority, on his part, said that 800,000 tree seedlings have been prepared from Barantu, Logo Ansaba and Agordat nurseries, and over 220,000 have been planted through the summer work program, as well as by the public and government employees. The participants of the program expressed readiness to play due part in the successful implementation of development drives with the experience they have gained. Announcement from the Ministry of Health. 3 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 in tests carried out today at testing stations in the Central Region. On the other hand, 4 patients who have been receiving medical treatment in hospital in the Central Region have fully recovered and been discharged from the facilities. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly increased to 9,953, while the number of deaths stands at 103. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has increased to 10,133. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 12 August 2022. Those are domestic news. Please stay tuned for the international right after the show. Venezuela and Colombia have appointed ambassadors to each other's capital days after the inauguration of Colombia's first left-wing president, Gustavo Petro, who has promised to mend ties with its neighbor. Former Venezuelan Foreign Minister Felix Plasencia, who will soon be Bogota's President Nicolas Maduro, announced yesterday, while the newly elected Colombian president said Armando Benedetti, a former senator, will be tasked with normalizing diplomatic relations between the two countries. Gustavo Petro, who was inaugurated as Colombia's first left-wing president on Sunday, had pledged during his campaign to immediately reserve a decision by his predecessor, right-wing leader Ivan Duque, to serve diplomatic ties with Venezuela. Duque also said, along with the United States, the European Union and others, did not recognize Maduro's re-election in 2019 and instead backs opposition leader Juan Guaido's claim that he is Venezuela's interim president. In addition to exchanging ambassadors, the normalization process will include the full reopening of the more than 2,000-kilometer border between the two countries, which has been largely closed to vehicles since 2015, though it has been open to pedestrians since last year. Caracas and Bogota have also announced intentions to resolve military relations. Argentina's annual inflation surged past 70% last month, one of the fastest rates in the world after renewed political turmoil fueled price hikes and a currency rollout. Consumer prices rose 71% in July from a year along, and the highest level is about 30 years, according to the government data published Thursday. On a monthly basis, the inflation rate spikes to 7.4%, accelerating at the fastest pace in the 2 decades and slightly above economists' average expectations for 7.3%. Galloping prices pushed Argentina's central bank to life rates earlier in the day by the most in 3 years, jacking up borrowing costs by 950 basis points and the benchmark rate to 69.5%. It signaled a tougher monetary stance against inflation following another large rate hike just 2 weeks ago. Policymakers had been only raising rates once a month previously. Argentina's already high levels of inflation got supercharged in July when Economy Minister Martin Guzman abruptly resigned, blowing up open political crisis brewing inside the country's ruling coalition. President Alberto Fernandez replaced Guzman with little-known economic Silvia Batasque, who lasted only 3 weeks in the job before Fernandez tapped Sergio Massa, a seasonal political operator and one of the leaders of the Peronist coalition, for the role. To signal a tougher stance on inflation, Massa committed to stop printing more money to finance government spending, a key factor driving inflation for the rest of the year. However, other policies, such as removing subsidies on utilities bills to improve the fiscal balance, stand to keep price increases high in the near term. Economists see annual inflation in Argentina ending this year at 90%, according to the latest central bank survey. Please stay tuned for a recap of tonight's headlines. Ministry of Education Southern Region Branch conducts assessment meeting. voluntary blood donation in connection with 12 August World Youth Day. Venezuela and Colombia name ambassadors in attempt to restore ties. Argentina hikes rate to 69.5% as inflation surges to 30-year high. And that was our news for tonight, dear viewers. It is good night.